Welcome back to the Self Trust Solution Podcast. I'm Dawn Ledet, your host. And in today's episode, I'm joined by Sarah Guilliot, whose career spans more than 2 decades, leading UX design work for global brands, and who now finds herself in a new season of professional exploration and possibility. This conversation is about what happens after mastery, after success, after doing something well for a long time and then sensing that it may no longer be where you're meant to stay. Sarah shares what it's like to trust yourself when you're no longer proving competent, but listening for what's next. It's a thoughtful, grounded reflection on identity, evolution, and self trust in moments of transition. I hope you love this conversation as much as I did. Let's get into it. Welcome, Sarah, to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is going to be super fun.
Agreed. So you have had this fascinating career arc from 20 years leading this UX design for global brands to now running Sarah Design Agency, where you help coaches and consultants bring their online presence to life. So can you start by sharing a snapshot of what your work and life looked like before you started intentionally trusting yourself more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've really learned to trust myself through coaching, probably in the entrepreneur space. So back when I was in corporate, I was doing what was expected of me. I had some hidden dreams, but I was just like following along in life. And it wasn't until, like you said, I was 20 years in corporate. My husband had a stroke and he's fully recovered right now, by the way. So no worries about that. But because of that situation, I realized that this is actually a self trust piece too. I had told you ahead of this call, I had two examples, but this was a self trust piece too, where I had been dreaming of starting my own business, but I was scared and everything was holding me back. But then having the catalyst of that big event in our lives made me question things and question what was important and start to go inward. And that was just like the very beginnings of me understanding self trust, I think, as I started out on my journey into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So you shared that 2 years ago at a retreat, you were kind of quietly questioning whether to leave design and focus on copywriting. What was going through your mind at that time and kind of what made help you make that courageous first decision to follow your natural strength?
Yeah. So, over the course of around 10 years in my own business, I've been doing all things website design, copywriting, agency model. And I noticed I was starting to feel burned out, just like I had felt in corporate. And so I'm in this mastermind group run by Shannon Mattern. It's called Next Level. And we have a retreat every year. And at that retreat, I had just this small feeling inside of like, I think I might want to let go of design and focus entirely on copy. But my whole identity up to that point had been wrapped up in design. Like, oh, I'm a designer. What do you do, Sarah? I do design. I do web design. you know? I wasn't like, I'm a copywriter, even though I had been doing that as part of my service. So I was really scared, but kind of again going inward and deep at that event, talking it out with the support of the people around me. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to trust that I have what it takes, that I don't need to run off and get a certification. I don't need to redesign my entire site. I just need to reach out to the people I know and say, I'm doing this new thing. Do you need help? And it's going to work out. And it was scary. It wasn't like it was super easy, but it happened really quickly. So I found it interesting that when I leaned into my self trust, and just decided to go for it, everything felt fluid after that. It was just like easy to start sharing about this thing that I wanted to do because I was looking forward to doing it. And I picked up pace and I got to my minimum viable income really quickly at that point. And so that was the first step into that process.
You know what you kind of quietly said in that story is that you didn't make it difficult. You didn't complicate it. Like it was scary enough without having to pile on all these added pressures. You're like, all I have to do is reach out to people and say, this is something I'm doing. I think that's such a beautiful example and something we can all remember and actually benefit from, that when you're doing something that's already stretching you, which by the way, everything new we do does, even when it's, doing copywriting wasn't new to you, but sharing that as your focus was new. And so, of course, it feels scary and like a stretch, but we don't have to make it more complicated.
Exactly. Yeah. And then leaning into that self trust, not complicating it. Just, I didn't expect it to feel so easy, but that was, it did. It felt easy after that.
Right? But guess what? It can be easy sometimes. So, how did that show up in your day to day? Like, especially in that first outreach for copywriting specific or client work and or confidence.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to look back and try to imagine what I was thinking day to day. I think the first few outreaches that I did felt a little awkward. And then I, developed scripts for like, oh, this is what I'll say to these folks from my past and this is what I'll say to this person. I'll do a little experimentation and each yes gave me more confidence. Each project that I finished, I was like, oh yeah, I am really good at this. Like
Mhm.
maybe I can step into this. And it like the momentum built. It was like a domino. It kind of just every step forward became, easier and easier, and it wasn't like I never had doubts along the way, but, um, yeah, I noticed I was trusting myself more. I was getting feedback from my coach that I was trusting myself more, and, once I acknowledged that, then it became easier to keep doing it, It's kind of like a practice that you have to keep doing over time.
Yes, and consistency creates that habit, which then, of course, reduces the doubt behind it a little bit.
Mhm.
Right? But I love that you mentioned that you still had doubts, because self-trust doesn't mean never doubting. And I think sometimes we can misconstrue that, and that's when we start to judge ourselves like, "Oh, I'm doubting, I must not trust myself, or I can't trust myself." We start looking for examples of that, and so what a great reminder that, of course, even when we have self-trust, it doesn't mean the doubt goes away. It means that we trust that we can move through it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So this year you felt another nudge to come back to design, but in a whole new way. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so this is funny. Everything's going awesome with the copywriting, right? I'm like, I'm succeeding. I can do this. This is working great. It was still a ton of work and a ton of my time, total solopreneur event. Um, and then earlier this year, about 6 months ago at the time of this recording, I came across an opportunity to learn a productized service model, which is something I had always kind of wanted to create over the years, but I just couldn't get it together. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So this opportunity came up to learn this new model, and so then I was in that crossroads again because I was like, okay, that's what I've always wanted since I left corporate. I wanted a business that was the process was so tight and it was productized so that if there's like some medical emergency in my life, I can still make money. The business can keep running. And that just wasn't going to happen with me writing all the copy on my own every week. So this opportunity came up and it was going back to my roots of building websites for coaches and course creators because I had been working for coaches all that time. And I was like, okay, it felt a little bit like, oh, are people going to think I'm flaky? Like I'm pivoting again, Sarah. Like, can't you make up your mind? You're going back to what you did. There was a little bit of that went through my mind. But again, on the self trust side, I was like, hey, I did it before and I can do it again. Like I made that switch to the copywriting. I made it work. I can make this work too. And it's not like all of those past experiences were wasted. Like everything that I knew from corporate, everything I knew in the first, 8 years of business doing an agency, everything from the past 2 years of doing copywriting, those are all skills that made me better. And so now when I create this thing that I always wanted to create, it's going to be the best it can be. And it's been amazing. I'm still in early stages. I have my first clients. I'm putting the word out. But I'm so happy that again, I trusted myself, even though there was part of me that was like, is this a little embarrassing?
That's such a good thing to bring up because I think so many of us, there's two pieces here, right? Like, one, we start to question, which, by the way, when we're questioning what other people are going to think, it means we're thinking that about ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And that's good to be on to ourselves. And look, we talk a lot about that in Master Your Inner Dialogue, my book, but also, who says we have to stay doing something forever?
Yeah.
And we get the stigma as if we're starting over or we're going back. But the truth is we're growing forward, evolved. So you're all of those things you did before led to this. And your experience compounds. And now you're offering this new thing that might be a little reminiscent of what you did before, but from this even greater expertise than what you were doing it before.
Yes, exactly. It's like when I'm building out a web page and I'm kind of leaning into sort of this hero's journey story on that web page, I think about that with this experience that I've had, and I'm sure many people in your audience have, of like, yeah, you're not going back. It's not time wasted. Every little step on the way is like part of your hero's journey where you're gathering up those little bits, tidbits of advice and of experience and just getting better and stronger until something really amazing comes out on the other side. And it keeps going too. We're going to keep going from here.
And you may offer something different in a year or 6 months, and who knows? But it's all going to come from what you're recognizing in your own life and what your clients need, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So your new offer blends design and copy in a simple productized model you mentioned for coaches.
Hmm.
Has self trust influence how you structure your business now, like from how you price to how you simplify the process to how you show up for clients?
Yeah. So in this new process, there's parts that I'm still refining. So one of the fun things about it is that people come on board and they have lots of time to figure out the information that they need to give me to build the site. There's not like, "Oh, we need to get this from you tomorrow." They have time. So I have people lined up and we haven't started building their sites yet. And it's not like I haven't built sites before, but there's parts of this process that still make me a little nervous because I know it's not going to be super smooth right here in the beginning. And that's why these are beta clients at the start, while I'm developing my SOPs. But I'm just like taking it one day at a time, reminding myself that I do know how to do this, that anything that comes up, I can figure out. I have support if I get stuck. Nothing is a failure. Every failure just brings you forward. And it's just kind of reminding myself day to day as I get through this that it's just going to get better, and I don't need to expect perfection.
Right. And at the end, they're going to have a website they love.
Mhm. Exactly.
Whatever that time takes and any edits and adjustments, like the result's going to be what you want it.
Exactly.
So if you could go back and speak to your maybe before self, like before you really started, maybe even at that retreat where you were kind of wrestling with what to do and where to go, what would you say now? What do you think she needed to hear that you know now?
I think she needed to hear that you really do have everything you need. Like, you don't need to search for an answer outside of yourself. And I've heard people say that over the years, and I'm like, yeah, sure, right. But there's people with proven models. I can just listen to them. But just like, you really do, like, give yourself some credit for all the experiences you've had so far. You have everything you need inside of you. Anywhere you get stuck, there's people to support you. You can solve any problem that comes your way. And just, as long as you stay aligned with your values and you focus on doing the best you can, everybody's always doing the best they can at any given moment, then it's going to work out. You just got to keep going.
Totally. Absolutely. And the thing about like knowing that if you move forward, if you keep moving forward based on your values, as you said, and making those decisions and tuning in first before finding, I always say, tune in to find out what you need first. Then you can go find the support you need to fill any gaps.
Mhm.
But all those strategies, to your point, there are a million of them that exist. But and they all work for someone, but they don't always work for you at a specific time or even ever, right? Like that's why you and I could do the exact same thing and come up with wildly different results. And so
Mhm.
we have to learn like what is it that we need? What strategies work with us in our way of working and what we're reaching for. And I think that's such a beautiful example to say like you have a wealth of wisdom and knowledge inside of you. And I always say, go there first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm a totally big fan of that. I love that tune in to yourself. That's absolutely true. And for those extra little things that you need a little bit more support on, there is someone that has the answer.
Yeah. A million people that would love to help you do that. So, for anyone who's listening who is stuck between chapters, maybe doubting their next move, what's one small practical way that you would suggest that they move forward?
Yeah, I would say try to try to alter the way you're thinking about it. One thing that's really helped me is I tend to be an all or nothing, this is permanent sort of person. And whenever I lean into the idea that business is about experimentation, I feel way better. Then it like frees me up to do things. So if you can think of your next move as an experiment, like it's not make or break, it's not what you have to be stuck doing for the next 100 years. Like this is what you're going to try. You're going to gather some data. You're going to see what comes from that, and you're going to make adjustments. It takes that pressure off of like this must succeed and this must be the thing that works forever and ever.
Right? It's like putting instant pressure on whatever the
Hmm.
thing is. Instead of opening up, I like to use and. Like instead of all or nothing, what's the and? Like if
Mm.
there's an all over here and there's a nothing over here, what's in the glorious middle? What are all the options? And let's just play a little in there instead of making it so either or.
I love that.
It's just so much freer, more open, right? It feels so
Hmm.
heavy to think of it as like this is the thing forever instead of this is a great next step.
Hmm.
And
I
maybe
love
that
that.
step will last for a few years, or maybe it'll last for a few months, or maybe it'll last for a few minutes or decades. But when we think like we don't have to know that when we first started. Yeah. So good. I love it. Well, tell us a little bit more about what you do and where people can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at sarahdesign.com. I also have links to my socials at the bottom of that page because my Instagram is Sarah Design Agency. I love it when people DM me, so feel free to reach out. But you can learn more about my offer there. You can book a tour to see what it's like on the inside. But essentially, I build done for you websites on Squarespace for coaches and consultants, specifically for that group. These are designed to book calls. I build in all the things that you need that are like tech scary for most people. So, like your calendar, your contact forms, your email marketing, and really put together this whole system so you feel fully supported, even with education outside of the service. As you take those next steps, whether it's your first website or you already have a website, maybe you DIY'd and you realize you need a redo, then I help there as well. And I've created a special page for your listeners, Dawn, that I'd love to share.
Yeah.
So if they want to go to sarahdesign.com/self-trust, then they can get a peek at some more cool things over there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, listeners. You will have those links in the show notes. Definitely go check out sarahdesign.com/self-trust. And thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your story with us today and all the ways that trust has impacted your ability to move forward in such a beautiful way.
Thanks, Dawn. I had a great time.
Thank you again for joining us today. And as always, if you have a self trust story to share, I'd love to hear it. And if you are ready to create one, I'd love to help you claim it. Visit theselftrustcoach.com or check the show notes for details and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next story.